Hello and welcome to this week's Natural Gardening Live with me, Josie, your natural gardening coach. So today we are talking about birds, garden birds. So 5 ways garden birds can benefit your garden and actually you as well. So that's what we're talking about today. Let me know in the comments, do you feed birds? Do you feed the birds in the garden? Do you have bird feeders? Do you have nesting boxes? We're coming into nesting season, so nesting boxes will be quite popular at the moment. We've got quite a few nesting boxes in the garden and it is nice to see them sort of getting visited, if you like. But we do feed the birds, we feed the squirrels, we have nesting boxes about, so I might go and look for a squirrel nesting box to see if I can encourage more squirrels in. That'd be quite nice. So yes, let me know in the comments if you feed the birds in the garden, if you've got nesting boxes up, and if you're starting to see any movement, any activity in the garden. They'll be starting to look for a new home soon, ready to nest. So I've got the 5 ways garden birds can benefit your garden and yourself, and put that down because that's going to annoy everybody if I keep fiddling with my pen. So they are amazing things to watch. They're really quite, well, it's lovely to see the activity and the colours in the garden. I love seeing the birds in the garden, and as I say, feeding them does attract more in, so it's really nice. But yes, attracting more birds into your garden is a great way to increase interest in your garden. It's a great way to, if you've got kids or grandkids, to teach them about the garden, teach them about nature as well. So if can do like a little bird watch from your window, you can see how many different breeds of birds you can see, different colours they come in, and see if you can see what they're feeding on, things like that. It's a really good way of growing garden interest as well. So I don't know, it doesn't just apply to kids, but anybody can do that. I know I do. I look from the windows, try and see what birds we can see. It's lovely. I do like garden birds. So how can they benefit our gardens and ourselves? Number 1, now we spoke about this the other day, pest control. So birds are very effective in natural pest control methods. So it's the way that they hunt, they feed. So they are the very best way of controlling different pests in your garden, helping manage disease as well, because obviously some pests carry the diseases as well around the plants. So the way they feed, the smaller birds like sparrows, finches, things like that, the smaller varieties of birds will eat the smaller insects. But then we were talking about slugs and snails in a video the other day, and thrushes thrive, they love a good snail. So they are specific hunters for slugs and snails. Same as blackbirds, they love a slug. Ooh, they love a slug. So yes, very effective. Birds are very effective pest control methods. And so if you're growing a natural garden rather than a chemical or a conventional garden, if you like, having a little bird population in your garden, a high bird population or a healthy bird population in your garden will drastically reduce the amount of pests that you have to manage throughout the year. Number 2, they will help with pollination. I put pollution down there in my notes, honestly. Pollination, flower pollination, they'll help to complete the life cycle of some plants as well by moving seeds around. Now we all know how they move seeds around. I'm not going to go into that, but as birds move through the undergrowth and through hedges and through grasses and things like that, they pick up the pollen as they go. It's just natural, it's just what happens. It brushes on the pollen and then they naturally move it through the plants. So they are very effective pollinators as well as bees and other insects. So birds do play a big role in pollination and the production of seed as well. So they help the plants complete their life cycle. So it's really good. So say not only do they pollinate, but then they move the seeds around the garden on their own as well. Number 3, the 3rd way that birds can benefit your garden, there's 5, 3 out of 5, is controlling weeds. Now this one is not one that I would ever have considered a while ago, but having looked into the way birds nest and the way they feed in a garden and the way they do support a natural garden's like ecosystem, if you like, they do actually manage weeds as well, which is amazing, to be fair, because we need help with weeds, as much help as we can get. So they use, so stay with me on this one, they eat the smaller, I've got a squeaking puppy dog, they eat the smaller weeds and they use the larger, more grassy, if you like, weeds for nesting. So they do that, they eat the seed, they eat smaller birds, particularly like sparrows, blue tits and things like that, eat the grass seeds, which then reduces the amount of seed that spreads out and then spreads the grass and spreads the weed seed. They use, as I say, use it for nesting material as well. So they pull the weeds up and use everything, sometimes from the roots right through to the tops of the grass or tops of the plants, as nesting insulation. So they pack it in and they weave it between the sticks and things just to make it a bit more comfortable, as well as all the fluff that they gather. So yes, it does actually, amazingly, they do actually help to control weeds in your garden. as well as eating them as well. They don't just use them for nesting. So, weed control. That was number 3. Helping the environment. Now, this is a good one actually. I've always said about using native plants. Playing with my pen again. Stop it. I've always said about native plants growing in your garden support the whole ecosystem of your garden. It's lovely to have tropical plants, and it's lovely to have all the different vibrant colours and different fruits and different flowers and different things going on. But native plants, they attract the wildlife, they attract the insects in, they support the ecosystem. It's really good to have the natural plants. And natural plants, I'll get to the bird part in a minute. Natural plants actually take less care, so they save you a lot of time and energy. And as companion plants as well, they will actually support other plants in the garden as well. So you may have some tropical plants that are a little bit more delicate, softer if you like, and can't deal with the native weather patterns. But having the native plants in amongst them will actually support them. So that's always good. But the native plants will attract in more wildlife. So the more native plants that you've got will attract in more garden birds, more insects, beneficial creatures, if you like, in total. So they will help the environment in a roundabout sort of way. The birds will help to spread the seed and manage the native plants. The native plants will attract them in, so it's like a win-win for them. And the native plants will then support the rest of your garden as well, which is great. We like that, saving us time and money. So that was number 4, that was helping the environment. So as I say, the native plants will support birds, the birds will support the native plants, and the native plants will support your garden for you as well. So when I say environment, it's more like your garden's ecosystem. Number 5 is reducing stress. Now I love this one. So we were saying just now about looking out and seeing the birds in the garden, and it's just really nice to watch them, the activity and everything, and the colours. That can be really relaxing. Birds are very effective at recentering you, and as the nature side of it really. They're very good at de-stressing. Bird song, it's a very calming sound. So by sitting there and listening to the birds and seeing the birds and the activity in the garden, all the colours, all the activity, it's very calming and very relaxing. Now, with the day and age that we live in, and we need all the mental health support that we can get, attracting more birds into your garden is probably the easiest way of getting this mental health support. And all you have to do is feed them. When you're spending more time outdoors, watching the birds and enjoying the garden, you can get the vitamin D from the sunshine, which a lot of people miss. So going for a walk in the garden or walk outside, that can also help relieve the stress. There are some massive benefits to supporting and promoting the birds that live in your garden. Just by feeding them or providing a few nesting boxes, you can really make a difference to your garden and to the time and energy you spend in your garden as well. So, as I said to you before, let me know in the comments if you feed your birds, and let me know if you're going to start feeding birds. If you don't already, if you haven't got feeders or haven't got nesting boxes, let me know in the comments if you're thinking about starting this year, because it's coming to nesting time, so it's a really good time to start putting nesting boxes up if you're going to. With these 5 ways that birds can benefit you and your garden in mind, how are you going to start supporting them this year? So, that was your 5 ways that birds can support you and your garden. Hopefully, this will encourage you to attract some more birds into your garden and start feeding them and start looking after them as we come into nesting season, because it's really nice to have them in the garden. They do a lot of benefits. As I said, there's at least 5 that I've mentioned today. There's probably a few more than 5 actually I mentioned in there, but there's plenty more benefits that they offer, and you don't know until they're there. So, I wish you all a fantastic day, and it is blimmin' horrible outside at the moment. It's grey and raining, so I'm going to be staying inside. But yeah, have a great day, and I will see you all later.